Hello, Commanders fans. Today we bring you 10 free agents that Commanders can target. So, take advantage and subscribe to the channel, activate the bell so you don't miss any updates, and leave a like to strengthen our fan base. And now, let's move on to today's news. 10 free agents on Commanders GM Adam Peters' 2025 wish list in by week. Adam Peters transformed the Washington Commanders roster during his first offseason as general manager. He was unhappy with the current state of affairs and responded accordingly, acquiring a good mix of youth and experience to kickstart this extensive rebuild. The Commanders are ahead of the curve. They're 8-5 in 13 games and have changed perceptions around the league. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, players are reportedly telling their agents to engineer moves to Washington instead of doing everything they could to avoid the franchise when Dan Snyder had absolute power. Commanders could target Carlton Davis III. Despite acquiring Marshawn Lattimore via trade with the New Orleans Saints, the Washington Commanders may not be done adding cornerbacks under the new regime. That has more significance if Benjamin St. Just, Michael Davis, and Noah Igbinoghene don't return as free agents. Emmanuel Forbes Jr. was released, ending the former first-round pick's disastrous tenure with the organization. Lattimore and Mike Sainristil are key pieces for the future. That won't be enough to keep up with the NFL's elite. Carlton Davis III seems like a good scheme fit. He shined for the Detroit Lions this season, playing 89% of the defensive snaps and surrendering just 56.5% of the targets thrown his way. The NFC's top seed has enough money left to make him a decent offer, but the Commanders should be ready to pounce if they can't reach a mutually beneficial agreement. Other options will be considered. But Davis's production, experience, and mindset are exactly what Coach Dan Quinn typically looks for in his defensive backs. Commanders could target Chris Godwin. Jaden Daniels is the franchise quarterback the Washington Commanders have been looking for. Adam Peters and his staff made the right choice by selecting him number 2 overall in the 2024 NFL Draft. He's not the finished article, but those in power can't be anything but excited about the Heisman Trophy winner's rapid growth. Building around Daniels and maximizing his rookie contract is essential. Peters knows how important that is, having worked with the San Francisco 49ers and Brock Purdy. He'll be eager to do the same again. Adding to Daniels' weapons in the passing game would be a good place to start. The Commanders have Terry McLaurin as their alpha in the wide receiver room. Several others have shined, but the consistency just isn't where it needs to be. Spending money on a prolific free agent is something Peters should contemplate depending on the options available. Chris Godwin would be at the top of the list if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers let him test the market. That would depend on the player's recovery from a long-term injury. Godwin's talent is obvious. If everything works out on the health front, the prospect of pairing him with McLaurin could take Daniels' game to new heights in 2025. Commanders could target Nick Bolton. Adam Peters shook up the linebacker core this offseason, signing Bobby Wagner and Frankie Luvu. They have emerged as the heart and soul of Washington's defense, boasting the physicality, production, and leadership at the second level that was sorely lacking during Ron Rivera's 4-year tenure. Luvu signed a 3-year deal in free agency and represents a key piece. Wagner's influence on and off the field warrants another contract, but the second-level enforcer isn't getting any younger. If the Commanders decide to sign another capable veteran to provide insurance, they could do a lot worse than examine Nick Bolton's credentials in greater detail. The former second-round pick has taken the league by storm in his first 2 seasons. He's been a consistent performer for the Kansas City Chiefs, but they're up against him from a salary cap perspective. Peters could look to the draft for cheaper options with long-term potential. They also have Jordan McGee as an intriguing project, so it will be fascinating to see how things play out in this position group. Commanders could target Jevon Holland. The Commanders may not have the biggest need at the safety position in free agency. However, that depends on what the future holds for those currently on the books. Jeremy Chinn should get an extension after showing tremendous promise throughout the campaign. Quan Martin looks like a mainstay if he continues his encouraging progress. As for the rest, let's just say there are concerns. Percy Butler is a decent special teamer, but nothing more. Derek Forrest was an afterthought and will be moved. Tyler Owens shows promise, but the sample size is small after the undrafted free agent made the 53-man roster. If the Commanders decide to take a chance, Jevon Holland is one to watch. He'll likely be the hottest free agent safety on the market if the Miami Dolphins let things get to that point. More than a few teams will be monitoring his contract situation closely. Commanders could target Sebastian Joseph Day. The Washington Commanders could use some help on the interior defensive line. There are questions about almost every option right now. Don't be surprised if Adam Peters calls the shots again in 2025. Daron Payne should be around. The same goes for second-round rookie Johnny Newton, who has shown promise and could develop even more with additional development over the offseason. Jonathan Allen's future is in doubt heading into the final year of his contract. Phidarian Mathis was a healthy risk against the Tennessee Titans and could be another high-profile draft pick from Ron Rivera's management, who is considered surplus to requirements. Sheldon Day is playing well, but his status beyond 2024 remains uncertain. Someone like Sebastian Joseph Day could help tremendously. He's an excellent run defender, thanks to his solid core and exceptional technique. The draft is loaded with exceptional defensive line prospects, but this wouldn't be a bad direction for Peters, that's for sure. Commanders could target Javonte Williams. Running back may not be the biggest need as far as the Commanders are concerned. However, that won't stop Adam Peters from examining potential upgrades if the right opportunities present themselves. Brian Robinson Jr. looks like a long-term option after another stellar campaign. Austin Ekeler was a shrewd addition, but the serious concussion he suffered against the Dallas Cowboys comes with a real concern attached. The Commanders need to form contingency plans, just in case. Going the draft route with someone like Ashton Jeanty was recently praised by Dane Brugler of The Athletic. There are some intriguing names that could potentially become free agents that warrant additional consideration. Javonte Williams comes with more long-term potential than most considering he's only 24 years old. The Denver Broncos have cut back on his usage in recent weeks, which is a sign that the player and the organization may be going their separate ways this offseason. Williams has the dual-threat ability to be a nice complementary piece, but a lot would depend on the money involved. Commanders could target Brady Christensen. The Commanders' offensive line has been a source of great encouragement this season. Adam Peters' decision to give this important unit the respect it deserves was a refreshing change of pace. The results were immediate and impressive in equal measure. That said, the Commanders shouldn't get complacent, especially when it comes to bolstering depth. Injuries are likely to occur more frequently in this area of the field, given its physical nature. For all of Washington's strengths along the starting unit, they could use some more talented backup pieces. Brady Christensen checks all the boxes in that regard. The versatile offensive lineman can fill any position along the protection with minimal fuss. That kind of reliability is hard to come by, which would generate significant interest his way if the Carolina Panthers let him test the market. Christensen could be looking for a team with an open starting position. It could be the Commanders, depending on how Adam Peters perceives the talent level. If not, he would be an exceptional sixth option, capable of stepping in at any moment to ensure no moment is wasted. Commanders could target Josh Sweat. While things have improved from a pass-rushing standpoint in the second half of 2024, the Washington Commanders need more this offseason. This is one of the biggest potential upgrades that could help them take the next step. Dorrance Armstrong Jr. and Clelin Ferrell have underperformed thus far. Dante Fowler Jr. has been a tremendous addition and should get another deal. But General Manager Adam Peters would be wise to pursue alternative options. This is a deep class for defensive linemen and edge rushers, and it won't go unnoticed by the Commanders during their evaluations. If those in power decide a veteran presence is needed to help maximize this window of opportunity, someone like Josh Sweat comes into consideration. Sweat is a capable player who can wreak havoc on opposing backfields when he's in the mood. His 44 pressures this season rank him 15th out of 200 qualified edge defenders, according to Pro Football Focus. Luring him from a division rival won't be easy, or cheap for that matter, but it would make a big difference for Joe Witt Jr.'s unit. Commanders could target T. Higgins. If you ask Commanders fans who their favorite free agent would be above all else, many would instantly identify T. Higgins. And with the wide receiver's time with the Cincinnati Bengals likely coming to an end, he's undoubtedly the hottest name on the market. Higgins has all the makings of a number one receiver. He hasn't had to show it off with the Bengals, thanks to the presence of Pro Bowl pass catcher Ja'Marr Chase. However, the former Clemson star has emerged as a key part of Cincinnati's offensive strategy. The Bengals would undoubtedly like to keep Higgins, but there's only so much money to go around. Cincinnati needs to pay Chase, which will put the Commanders and others on red alert next spring. Acquiring Higgins won't be cheap, especially if his availability results in a bidding war. But the presence of Jaden Daniels and the Commanders having plenty of money to spare means Adam Peters would have a fighting chance if he threw his hat in the ring. Commanders could target DJ Reed. The Commanders made an aggressive trade for cornerback Marshawn Lattimore before the deadline. He has yet to play due to a hamstring injury, but all signs point to the four-time Pro Bowler making his long-awaited debut after the bye against the team that sent him packing, the New Orleans Saints. Lattimore provides the Commanders with a genuine shutout presence capable of locking down one side of the field. Rookie second-round pick Mike Sainristil is a player with immense promise. Beyond that, the cornerback room is uncertain. Perhaps going the draft route would be the best option. However, someone like DJ Reed would be an immediate upgrade over anything outside of Lattimore. The cost could put the Commanders off if he tests the market, which seems unlikely given his importance to the New York Jets. But it would give Washington's defense a potent trio of cornerbacks capable of taking the league by storm.